Board. All right, so welcome everyone to our Healthy Huddle this week that goes along with our Meltdown Challenge. I'm Angela and I'm one of your hosts. We got Dee and Molly are also on. I want to wave. So we're your challenge coaches this go round, and I'm very excited. We were trying to come up with kind of like a great topic to go over this week. And I think we're going to talk a little bit about just how to navigate your summer barbecues, parties, picnics, and maybe even some travel tips. I think hopefully that will be helpful for everyone that's on the line and for people who watch the recording of this as well. Because I think most everyone would probably agree that that's where it gets tough. If you're just going to work every day and you're in your routine and you can have no matter what plan you're on, it's a lot easier to follow when you're just in your normal structure of your day. But most of my clients, I would say, find that the weekends are harder than the weekdays because they are out of their routine. Maybe they have a wedding or they have a barbecue or something going on, and you got to figure out how to make good choices in those social situations, and it's not always easy, right? So we were going to go over a few tips. I printed out from a past call that I had done some notes just to make sure I don't really miss anything, but just kind of go over the different ideas around that. I think one thing to remember, what we really talk about is eating every 2.5 to 3 hours. So really trying to keep that structure in your day. And even if your choice at the every 2.5 to 3 hour mark isn't the healthiest, best choice you could have made, to just remember that you have another chance to make a good choice 2.5 to 3 hours later. And that each meal is an opportunity to make a healthy choice. You don't have to, your whole day isn't dependent upon maybe the fact that you had a big pancake and bacon for breakfast. You do it, you move on. You have a healthy choice in 2.5 to 3 hours, because that's what's going to keep your blood sugars balanced, and that's going to help you make a better choice really at your meals, at your lunch and dinner. It amazes me, if you go all morning, let's say you have breakfast, you start off strong, but you just get busy, and then you kind of look up and you realize it's noon and you haven't had anything else and you're hungry. It's a lot easier or a lot harder to make not only a good choice, but to eat probably the right amount of food for your lunch when you're starving after that big gap of time, and really the same for dinner. So always kind of planning for that, keeping on schedule. I find people putting an alarm in your phone is very helpful. And this is whether you are, I'm talking really about like barbecues and stuff, but it all really comes into play, kind of keeping in that schedule and in that routine. Even if let's say you have a big wedding or an event, something going on Saturday night, having a really strong, healthy day is going to help you make good choices that night. And, we talk a lot about waking up that morning and just starting the day off right, maybe going ahead and getting in a walk or some exercise. Again, having that healthy mindset, feeling healthy helps you make healthier choices. I mean, it's just a fact. So if you can wake up and start strong, have a healthy breakfast, get some healthy movement in, do the walk, do some exercise or something. You know what? Even if your evening is not great, you did pretty good that day. It makes a big difference. And hopefully you do better than maybe you would have done if you had just been feeling sluggish all day and not your best. So that's something to remember. Really, when I have a client that says, oh, I'm very worried about the weekend, I have potluck after church and a Saturday party that I'm going to. To me, the easiest and really best way for me to make sure that I'm going to, do okay around that situation is to make sure I contribute to the food something that I can eat that is healthy. People don't love making salads, so my friends always know that I'm going to bring the big salad now. They don't like chopping the vegetables and doing the tomatoes and skinning the cucumbers. And, it's a little tedious. But I know, even if my girlfriend is serving a big lasagna dinner, that is not really maybe the best choice to have a big old plate of lasagna. If I take a big salad or offer to bring it, or sometimes I just show up with it, I don't even tell them. I'm just contributing to the meal or to the gathering, I know that I can at least fill my plate up with green vegetables, and I'll have, a little lasagna. Little lasagna is okay, and the big plate maybe not so much. So trying to bring something that's on plan for you. And if you might want to even consider the appetizers. Do some Google searches, look in our client page on Facebook if you're one of our clients, but just search for healthy appetizers. Bringing a veggie tray, bringing something. It doesn't mean that you're not going to partake in a little bit of the buffalo chicken dip that they have there. But maybe if you have, the veggie tray there, you're going to eat a lot more of that and just a little bit of the not so healthy item. So, making sure you have something there that you can eat is going to be huge. A few other tips for the parties that I really like is to make sure you place yourself away from the food area. We always tend to gather in the kitchen or around the buffet, or if the food is set up in the dining room, on the dining room table, everyone's hanging out in there and they're eating. It makes it a lot easier to just graze, right? You're just picking and doing kind of that mindless eating that kind of, I feel like, gets me in trouble personally, because I'm sitting there picking and it's not even, before I know it, I've probably eaten 400 or 500 calories of, nothing, because I'm just sitting there picking while I'm talking. So having the conversation, move to a different area, and just being intentional about that. People will either follow you, or there's probably people in the other room, but kind of trying to move yourself into the living room or into another area away from the grazing area, I like to call it. Another thing that I love to do at parties is I always carry a water bottle or a drink with me in my hand. So it keeps me, again, it's not as easy to pick. If you're constantly carrying around your drink, you're not going to be, as easy to be grabbing or carrying a plate around of food. So again, just this kind of intentional choices around your health, making sure that you have something there that you can, make sure you have something. I'm sorry to see her reading Vicky's little text down here. Just making sure you have something there to keep you busy and so the food is not the main point of the gathering. I don't know if alcohol is anyone else's downfall. I certainly am one to have a few glasses of wine and see, Ashley agrees with me. Ashley, you look so much like my friend Tammy. At first I thought you were Tammy. Had to go check your name on there. But, I like to have a few glasses of wine, and not that that's necessarily bad, but if you're on 5 and 1 and really trying to stick to your program, a few glasses of wine definitely is not on plan and can certainly affect your weight loss. I mean, it's a lot of calories. It's very little nutritional value. So a few tricks around the cocktails. Have something there that you like to drink. I love a LaCroix, however you say it. They're like the little canned sparkling water, or maybe those ice drinks, the sweet, they're sugar-free, but they're like kind of a carbonated drink, or, maybe having the flavor infusers. Medifast has those flavor infusers, but I find putting anything in a wine glass makes it taste way better. And you know what? You feel like you're a part of the crowd. I mean, you really do. It makes a way bigger difference. When I did program, and even just times when I'm really just trying to be really intentional about my health and making better choices, maybe, lose a couple pounds, and I'm not going to have any drinks. I go to book club and I bring my coffee, because I have my own drink. I have something there, my little decaf coffee. Or I will take a drink and pour it in a wine glass. You can take some sparkling water with a slice of lime, something that feels like you're having. Because I do find for the most part that the alcohol in the cocktails is a social thing. It's what you feel like you should be doing, but it can absolutely affect your results. If you are really trying to lose weight, then that is not serving you. So figuring out a way to work around that and just trying, and you know what? 1 or 2 social events where you get through it and you're going to realize you don't miss it as much as you think you are going to. And that really is the truth, because at first it seems so hard, as with everything. But that's another one of my tips, is really learning how to say no thank you graciously. We don't have to say yes to everything, and people are not offended if we say no, but we feel, many people feel, obligated. She made this special pasta salad, or there's this wonderful cake. She spent all this time on it. I have to have a slice of the cake. If you really feel you have to, you have to choose it wisely, have a couple bites and move on. But I find just saying, no, thank you, not tonight. You know what, I'm on a health plan. I'm really working hard on my health right now. I'm trying to really focus on making great choices. It looks delicious. I will definitely have some of that in a month or two when I'm, where I need to be. But really practice saying no. And, it's not the end of the world. And I think you would find that most people are very supportive when you say you're working on your health. Honestly, I've never heard anyone say they had people that were very unsupportive of that. Where people are not so supportive is when we say, well, I'm on a diet right now and I can't have cake on my diet. Oh, you can diet tomorrow, just one little piece. You're going to tell me you were never going to have cake? Like they try to push you. We have those people in our life, don't we, that kind of try to sabotage what we're doing. But when you turn it inward and make it more of, I'm really working on my health right now, and I'll have it next time, and just kind of don't make a big deal out of it. Most people will just say, oh, okay, and they're supportive of that. So, practice that, and not feeling like you have to have every single thing, I think. A couple other tips I have. I hope these are helpful. Hopefully people will watch this and think they're good tips. But one of the other tips is to have sugar-free gum. Nothing really tastes great with a mint in your mouth, right? So having some sugar-free gum that you're chewing during the party or the picnic or the barbecue or whatever it is you're doing is very helpful. We talked about moving away from let's see what else we got. Moving away from the food table. Having something else. Well, hold on. I'm trying to think. This was a Christmas one, something that doesn't really quite go. Hold on. And having your water. There's another one, right? Making sure you continue to drink your water throughout the day. Again, you have a big event. You're having something. Fill yourself up with your water. Make sure you're still having that. What I find is people kind of give up before it's even happened. They kind of go, oh, well, this weekend's pretty much a bust because I have blank. And it's really just not true. One meal is not going to ruin your whole weekend, even if it wasn't a great meal, even if it was a terrible meal. Let's be honest. You're still going to be way better off if every other meal that you have. Remember, we eat every 3 hours. That is what we teach. That's what we believe, that eating every 3 hours, something, having that meal replacement or having a snack or having something healthy and balanced every 3 hours is key to keeping your blood sugars balanced. Well, if you're eating every 3 hours and you're eating, 6 times a day, one meal is not going to kill your whole day. So just being mindful of that and remembering that it's not just that one thing that's going to mess you up. So I hate to go into the weekend thinking, oh, well, because I have the wedding, my weekend's shot. This is really not true. So that would be another tip. It's just kind of reminding yourself of that. Another thing we talk about is Dr. A actually teaches that 90%, I think it's 90% of the satisfaction from any food comes in the first 3 bites. I think that's very powerful. Actually, it's really, it's something that gives you control a little bit to know as well. If you know that pasta salad that you feel like you have to have, or whatever it is that you feel like you have to have, even though it really isn't part of your food plan, that 90% of your satisfaction from that comes in 3 bites or 3 tablespoons. Then you just put on your plate 3 bites, or you only allow yourself to eat 3 bites if you can control if you have that willpower, if you can pile it on your plate and only have 3, but just enjoying those 3 bites, but enjoying them and savoring them, eating slowly and mindfully. Sorry, my phone's going off. Eating slowly and mindfully and just really enjoying those 3 bites. I think that is a huge, it's just a really great tool to have in your toolbox, to know that you can have and enjoy that food, with the 3 bites. Let's see. We talked a little bit about the drinks in the wine glass. Making sure you have healthy snacks with you at all times. That's huge. I also wanted to give a few travel tips. Does anyone else have any tips that they want to give with their for parties or gatherings or social situations? Oh, Molly, good. What I forget? Go ahead. Can you unmute yourself, or do I need to? Let me see. Hold on, I'm finding you. And can you talk, Molly? No, hold on. There she is.
Here I am. So I'm big on, and your tips are great. Thank you, because I do think we need all those practical tools in our toolbox as we're moving, into those situations. And you guys have probably heard me say this before. I'm the girl that really likes to figure out what are you thinking, because what you're thinking indicates what you're going to do, right? So my comments are going to be around what you plan when you go in. Have a plan. Not having a plan is just failure before you walk in. So have a plan. And also, if you're going to the party with somebody or you're meeting a friend there, share what your plan is so they can help you be accountable to what you're going to do at the party. I just think that kind of puts us on the hook to have a plan and then share it with somebody else. But the number one thing that I'm always doing is reminding myself that wherever I'm going and whatever I'm going to do, really this is a people event where food will be present. This is not a food event where people will be present. Let's keep the human connections at the forefront of what we're doing and let the food go where it belongs, which is in the background. Okay, so that would just be some of my thoughts around what you've shared already. Thanks, Angela.
Yay, so good. So true, I love it. Anyone else have something else they want to add? Don't forget anything else major? Food event, I love that actually. That's one of my favorite things. This should be hopefully a huge takeaway for you guys. It's a people event where food is present, not a food event where people is present. I mean, really everything we do, we need to be reminded of that and just be mindful of that before we go in. And then of course, planning, perfect. I had a few travel tips, just some things that I send out to my clients when I know they're going out of town. And I've had a lot of success with clients who are even on 5 and 1 and go on a cruise and come back and have either maintained or even lost a pound. Cruise is like a big old eat fest where people just eat like crazy. I had a lady who went to Australia for 2 weeks. She was so worried. She'd been down about 35 pounds before she left, and she was very concerned how she was going to, do it. You're so used to eating 5 and 1, and that is way off our schedule and what we're used to. But what I told her, number one, is what do we talk about? Our basic healthy habits. Water, she needs to continue to do that. Eating every 3 hours, she needs to continue to do that. Of course, eating breakfast every day is a huge thing. Make sure you start your day with a huge breakfast. Your healthy movement. So continuing to do those things, and that in itself is going to make a huge difference in your success. I told her to make sure she has her meal replacements. If you're going on a big trip, if you're on 5 and 1, or even if you're not, but having the healthy snacks. So in our case, she was taking her bars or Medifast or whatever with her, but take enough at least for a couple times a day. So even if you ate a regular, if I say regular, but if you went out to a restaurant 3 times a day, you're on vacation. Even if you ate breakfast, lunch, and dinner at a restaurant, have your Medifast a couple times a day and make healthy choices, the other 3. You know what a lean and green meal looks like. You know that eating a big plate of vegetables and some healthy lean protein is the best way to go. So keeping that in mind the whole time. And then I always kind of tell my clients, it's vacation. So cut yourself a little slack. If you feel like, you're in Australia, you want to try whatever it is they eat there, and you have different types of food, or you're somewhere where you want to, obviously eat the food there, do it and enjoy it. But, make some healthy choices. I always tell my clients it's a very practical, real world thing that I do even today. It's just kind of looking at my plate and asking myself, would D. Corchin eat this? Who's the healthiest person you know? Do you think they would eat that plate? And just kind of in a real practical way, because healthy people do have an indulgence once in a while. They do have a piece of cake occasionally. It's your birthday, you're at a party. people do have that. They have the cocktail. But you know what healthy people do is they eat healthy most of the time with an occasional indulgence. So treating your vacation the same way is just a real life practical tip that you can do. And that's really what maintenance kind of looks like too, truthfully, is trying to make those healthy choices most of the time. A couple other little things, weigh yourself the morning you leave so that you do have a baseline for where you want to be when you get back. But I always tell them, come back, get back on plan strongly for a day or two before you weigh yourself after. Air travel and travel in general can really affect the scale. And it can be very depressing to come back, think, I did really good. I ate healthy and did really good all week, and come back and the scale's up 4 pounds, 5 pounds the next day. Because really sitting still, and especially I feel like air travel, I don't know do you feel that way, Dee? I feel like with my client, air travel messes with your weight. You're just sitting there, you're not moving. But sitting in a car for a long time as well. So I always say, come back, get on plan at least one full day, maybe even a second, drinking your water, all those things. And then, weigh yourself and kind of see where you ended up for the week. It'll give you a little bit more of a better baseline. What you got, Molly?
Because one of the things that, to your point there, Angela, when you come back from a vacation or a trip, whether or not you've eaten 3,500 extra calories to gain a pound or 7,000 extra calories to gain 2 pounds. You know that. So, and it's not likely that you did that, right? So if you get on the scale, knowing that you were making good, healthy choices, you were watching your portion controls, you were exercising, whatever is going to show up on the scale, if you're up, is likely a signal of inflammation. It's likely your body saying, hey, you may have eaten something that you didn't know you might be sensitive to because you've been really clean eating up to this point. So I just want you to have a practical mindset around that scale. If you get back and you get on it, you know your truth. And if your truth isn't that you consumed a bunch of extra calories, then what you might be able to put the pieces of the puzzle together and realize that may be some inflammation showing up for whatever reason. The other thing I just want to mention, again, it's a mindset. And I suggest to my clients, when you're going on vacation, the whole idea is you're going to vacate your standard operating procedures around your schedule. You're not going to go to work. You're not going to do you're vacating your home. You're going to go somewhere else. What you don't vacate is what you know. You don't vacate what you know when you're on vacation. You vacate what you do, right? So you may be doing some things differently, but don't leave all the lessons that you have learned back home. Take them with you and incorporate them, because that's how you're going to navigate in the real world for the long term. All right. So sorry, just wanted to get that in there.
No, thank you. That's perfect. Healthy people go on vacation, but don't you think that healthy people eat like healthy people do on vacation? Like, they don't just say, oh, I'm on vacation, I'm not going to be healthy this week. Doesn't happen. They go on vacation as a healthy person, and they eat healthy most of the time with maybe a couple extra indulgences than they maybe normally would do. But healthy people just try, they are that way all the time. So kind of remembering that is you, and the choice that is the path you've chosen is the path of the healthy person. So I'm going to make healthy choices on my vacation just like a healthy person do. And, ask yourself if your health coach would eat it. I'm telling you, it works. Another thing I do also tell people is that if you go and you find that you're just picking constantly, have you ever done that? Like, you go and you're kind of on plan, you're trying to stick to 5. I was going to stay on 5 and 1, but just eat a few of those chips. And then, I was going to stay on 5 and 1. I'll just have a couple sips of your drink. Oh, you're at the pool. I'll just eat a couple French fries. Like, you just find yourself that you're picking and you're not really sticking to your plan. I really believe it's better to pick a day or a meal, really, like an evening meal, where you just say, I'm going to enjoy that night. I'm going to have a couple drinks and a dessert, whatever. And then I'm going to be on plan the rest of the week. So maybe allowing instead of doing these little picks and stuff throughout the week that add up and you really still don't feel very satisfied, I would rather you give yourself permission to enjoy a meal that's maybe not 100% on plan, and really just enjoy it without guilt, then move on with your healthy plan and get back on your 5 and 1 or back on whatever your meal plan looks like. I find, you know what, those calories are a one and done instead of spreading them out, because then I'll have people that come home from vacation, they go, well, I did pretty good. I mean, I did pretty good. I mean, throughout the week, I might have ate, I mean, on Monday, I only had like a little bit of this. And we went to breakfast, so I ate one pancake. And then the next night we went out, and I did eat like a roll and half of the dessert, but that's all I had. But throughout the week, they're just having enough that they really have no success through the week with their weight loss. They maybe even gain a little bit because it adds up so much faster than you think, then maybe giving themselves permission for one meal. So I don't know, that's just something to think about too. It's kind of going into your week, maybe talking to your health coach. The whole idea of the planning, just like that Molly said, I mean, you have a coach, you call them, you know, when you talk to them this week and they say, what's going on? I'm really worried about next week. I'm out of town. But you know what? They can help you decide like where your goal, what your goals are, how close you are to them, how strongly you feel about being on them 100% while you're out of town, or if you want to modify, then let them help you figure out a plan to modify, you know, successfully, so that you actually are still seeing some results at the end of your week. So that's really all I had, just sticking with your stuff. I talked a little bit on here about having a 4 and 2, which we talked a little bit about that. But if you, you know, don't feel like you can do your full 5 and 1, maybe you're going out to lunch and dinner, you know, do a 4 and 2 that day. You can do that and still stick to your plan. Again, you know what a lean and green looks like. So kind of having that for lunch and dinner, if you're going out a couple times, is totally an okay way to do it. So anyone else have anything to add or any questions? We have a few minutes left on here. Anyone? Well, I hope this was helpful. Everyone get off and go drink your water. And since it's a Monday, you go figure out your plan for the week, right? You reach out to your coach. If you're on this call live, you do get your 25 points for your coach check-in. If you are watching this as a recording, reach out to your coach. Give them a quick call. That's why we're here. You're not bugging us at all. And then help them formulate come up with a plan, help you come up with what it is you need to see the scale move. I mean, we're here in the challenge now, not quite 2 weeks in, but we're definitely getting going pretty good. So I hope you're feeling strong and positive about where it's going. So everyone, have a great week.
Thank
Bye.
you.